Good afternoon, CBTU. The gentleman said, would you mind using that podium? I said, nope, not gonna do it. He goes, that mic ain't gonna work. Okay, I'm moving. It is not 4 o'clock as it was last year this time when I stood before you to give my remarks. We did get a lot of pushback from folks saying that there's folks that need to go to get something to eat, to get a break, with a bunch of diabeticals in the house, and folks claim that they're diabeticals, just wanted to get out the room to go get something to eat. So before I get started with my remarks, let me do something I used to do as the region director in Region 1 when we would have a region caucus. Could all the leadership, the executive council of the International Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, please stand? All the leadership, please stand. All leadership, please stand. Y'all turn around, let the people see y'all. This is our leadership team. This is our leadership. Okay, y'all can sit down. Sit down, sit down. Now, can all the chapter presidents that are in the room please stand? All the chapter presidents in the room, please stand. All right. All right, not many. Not many. Got 50 chapters around the country. Y'all sit down, y'all sit down. Now to the rest of y'all that are in the room, we read off about 70 names of the executive council when we introduced the executive council, right? I don't think 70 people just stood up. Got about 50 chapters around the country. I don't think 50 people just stood up. So if you didn't see the person that you elected to represent you on the executive council in the room when they stood up, you need to talk to them out in the hallway. If you didn't see your chapter president in the room when they stood up, you need to talk to them in the hallway, because we didn't come here for a party. We came here to do some serious work at the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. This ain't a time to party. This is a time to work. You can party when the meeting's over with, but when it's time to come together, when it's time to get our marching orders, we need to be in the same house listening to the same marching orders and getting the information that we all have together. Now, let me begin by acknowledging the one that allows me to go out and play almost every day. The one that makes sure when I go home on the weekends that the lock still ain't changed on the door. The one that was there to make sure that the children were taken care of when I was on the road. And I tell everybody the one reason in 1996 when I took the job out of town and started really traveling, she got upset because I like to cook and she don't. So she realized that once I got on the road, she had to start cooking every day for the kids. But she picked up that task as well as all the other tasks, and the one that's been by my side for, on this Monday, will be 25 years. We'll be celebrating our anniversary. As many of you know, every year we celebrate our anniversary at the convention. This year happens to fall on the day that we go home. So I love all y'all, but I'm gonna be getting on a plane and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna celebrate like any husband's supposed to have been married 25 years. We locking the doors and the children can't even come home. But that's my lovely wife, Sonia. Give her a hand, give her a hand. Let me also recognize the one that has mentored me for many years. Even before I really knew what it was to be a leader in the movement, there was somebody that was coaxing me, somebody that was giving me wise counsel, somebody that was always there and is today there for anything that I need. And that is our President Emeritus, Bill Lucey. Thank you, Bill, for all that you do. Y'all can do better than that for Bill Lucy. Y'all can do better than that for Bill Lucy. And let me do one other thing before I get started. A dear friend of mine reminded me that we come together and we meet on Memorial Day weekend every year. And we fail to do one thing as an institution, and that is to recognize and give honor to all of those that are in the House that have served and are serving in the military. So can all those that have served and are still serving in the military, please stand up. Anybody in the House that have served and still serving in the military, we want to give you a hand. We want to tell you we really appreciate all the sacrifices that you have made for all of us to be able to enjoy the life that we have today. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, sisters and brothers. Distinguished guests and officers of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. I want to take a moment to thank you for that warm reception as I was coming up on the stage. And let me also thank Petey Talley, who has been a long-time friend of mine. She said she didn't realize, I didn't realize she was going to start throwing out dates when she got out here, how long we both been in the movement. Petey, I've been telling everybody I'm 40 years old for a long time, okay? And you had the nerve to tell somebody I've been in the movement for 35 years. I was a wee tot. You too? Wee tot holding on to Bill's coattail, learning what this movement was all about. I wasn't old enough to work when I started in the movement. But let me give a shout out to our host city, Chicago, and the host chapter, the Chicago chapter of CBTU, led by the great Bob Simpson, one of the pillars of our organization that has been here from the beginning. Bob's been, where's Bob? There you go, right there. I know you were going to be here because, you know, I'm going to talk about you. Bob's been on the men recently. He went out there and tried to play in the snow. They had a little snowstorm here, and I got a call that Bob had fell and injured his shoulder, his elbow, when he was out trying to throw snowballs. Now, when I called Bob, he gave me a little different story. He said he was going to get his wife a sandwich. That's what he said. He said, I was going to get my wife a sandwich. He didn't say sandwich. He said a sandwich. And I stopped by the store, and I got out the car, and I fell. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that Bob has been on the men, and he's been going through some things. And even though he was supposed to be laid up and taking care of himself, Bob was still working within his chapter, working with our national group to make sure that this was a successful convention. So we thank you, Bob, for what you've been doing and what you continue to do for us. Before I begin my report, I want to say a few words about how special this city is to CBTU's history. It is our birthplace, as many of you know, the place where a new, independent, bodacious organization sprung into life some 44 years ago to speak for millions of black workers in unions across America. I just want to put a pin there, as I would do if I was on Sunday morning, and say, out of all these millions of black workers, I wish I could just get $1 a year from each one of them to help us with the work that we need to do. Y'all get that when y'all get home. Chicago will always be the Mecca we return to refocus on our founding mission. Bill Lucy, I can hear the booming voice of the late, great Charlie Hayes calling to order the first historic conference at the LaSalle Hotel. Then in 1983, CBTU, led by and inspired by Charlie's tireless effort, helped to beat the political odds makers and elected Chicago's first black mayor, Harold Washington. It was CBTU that led the fight. It was Charlie that led the fight. In 1984 and again in 1988, it was CBTU was at the side of then Reverend Jesse Jackson when he launched his presidential campaign here in Chicago. Those campaigns galvanized millions of black workers and ushered in a new generation of political operatives and activists. It was those elections that made us understand that we could put something to work, that we could make a change in the electorate. Jesse did not win, but it was Jesse's election that gave us a new life in the political scene of this country, and we owe a debt of gratitude to Jesse for what he did. They also laid the groundwork for President Barack Obama's historic run for the White House 20 years later. It was here in Chicago, in this very same ballroom in 2007, that a young senator from Illinois spoke to a packed CBTU convention. President Obama, Senator Obama at that time, thanked CBTU for our early support and vowed to be a friend of working men and women once he got to the White House. So you see, we've got plenty good reason to come back to Chicago. We shaped history right here in Chicago. As much joy as I get in talking about CBTU's glorious legacy here in Chicago, my heart is a little heavy this convention, tempered by the loss of CBTU members who's transitioned this past year. We share the grief of those loved ones. We too miss their smiles, their friendship, and their wisdom. And we will always cherish their loyalty and contributions to CBTU through the years. I need to take a moment, though, to recall two CBTU champions, Vernon Watkins and Carol Anderson. The memories are so vivid and the loss still so fresh. When I think about Vernon and Carol, two key behind-the-scenes members of our CBTU family. Vernon, who had passed away in early March, was there with CBTU from the get-go. In those early days, especially if you saw President Bill Lucey at the convention or an important political meeting, Vernon was probably somewhere nearby. He was trying to shield Bill from admirers as well as hustlers, putting out fires, gathering information to share with Bill later. Believe me, nothing you told Vernon stayed to himself. He always told Bill. He served 17 years as Bill's executive assistant at AFSCME after building a remarkable resume as a visionary organizer. As AFSCME's statewide director in California, it was Vernon who practically built the union in that state. He was a trailblazer who played a key role in winning pay equity for nearly 4,000 low-wage Los Angeles city workers, most of them women. Vernon was a mentor to me and many others around the country long before I was chosen to lead CBTU. He would pull me aside and give me his take on a particular situation, or he'd offer me advice on how to deal with politicians. But the funny thing is, Vernon usually walked away from these intense conversations smiling because he knew that half of whatever he said, you couldn't decode it anyway. You're trying to figure out what he was talking about, and he's back in his room somewhere. And then there's Carol Anderson. Carol, simply a was a Jew living in black skin. In an era of grand diva drama, Carol brought a low-key vibe to her work as one of the best educators in the labor movement. Over the years, her role in CBTU evolved from doing a workshop or two at our convention or regional meetings to playing a lead role in developing our strategic initiatives project. This program was launched 4 years ago to engage more CBTU members at every level to decide which way we wanted to take the organization. Most recently, Carol joined the CBTU family when she retired only 5 months ago from her job with AFSCME. She came to CBTU to help us work on building our chapters. And as I told the board, Carol came to me about 2-3 weeks after she retired and had decided to come on board with CBTU. She came to me and she said, you know, you don't realize you made my dream come true. And I said, well, what are you talking about? She said, my dream of a lifetime was to retire from AFSCME and to go to work for CBTU, the organization that I truly loved. She did this work because she believed in this work. She wanted to work for CBTU because she believed in the organization. She had a passion for the organization. Both Carol and Vernon, they touched so many lives in the movement and beyond. They are truly irreplaceable. They will be missed but never forgotten. I just want to take a moment of silence for Carol and Vernon and all the other brothers and sisters that were here around last year but are not here with us in person today. Could we just have a moment of silence? Amen. This occasion, just want y'all to know this as well. I thought my first speech as the president was tough, but this is like one of the toughest, because I got to talk about, after talking about two people that I truly love, I got to start talking about some policy stuff. So y'all need to bear with me a little bit. Work with me a little bit. I'm going to be with you. I may stray a little bit, but this is one of the tough ones. This occasion that brings us together has taken on greater urgency against the backdrop of black bodies piling up on television, angry marchers in the streets, and a criminal justice system that repeatedly, even deliberately, fails to produce justice. This tense picture is framed by the upcoming 2016 elections and competing visions of America's future. When I look at the circus of Republicans competing to replace President Obama in the White House, I see a bunch of pitiful clowns who make ugly appeals to conservative voters while stroking the fire of hate and prejudice that's burning down America's houses. If I close my eyes, I'd swear President Obama was running again on the Democratic ticket with the Clintons. See, in one breath, Rubio attacks Hillary. In the other breath, Huckabee blames Obama for killing liberty. Then Dr. Ben Carson, the GOP's colored hitman, hurls an insult at the president, calling him a psychopath. Whoa. Yeah, he did go there. Yeah, but that's cool. To paraphrase JC, Obama got 99 problems, and Ben Carson sure ain't one of them. Let the haters hate, but the facts and history are on the president's side. The economy is back and up and running and back to life. The unemployment rate has dropped nearly in half since 2009. It wasn't because he was making mistakes. It's because he knew what he was doing. The black jobless rate is in the single digits now for the first time since President Obama took office in 2009. Better yet, between 2013 and 14, more than 500,000 African Americans found full-time jobs. And oh, there's this thing called Obamacare. Well, the ranks of the uninsured have been cut by a third, and more than 16 million more Americans have health care coverage and a little more peace of mind, thanks to President Obama. You should be proud, yes, but satisfied, no. We've still got a long uphill climb ahead of us. I'm sure nobody in this room is jumping for joy right now. Housing is less affordable. Paychecks are still too thin, and way too many people of color are incarcerated, wasting their lives and taxpayers' money. When Freddie Gray died last month in Baltimore from severely broken bones in his spine while in police custody, his death riveted Americans' attention on biased policing and exploiting prison crisis. I think about what happened. And when I look at what happened in Ferguson and then I look at what happened in Baltimore, I see where the state's attorney came out, and this ain't in my remarks, but the state attorney in Baltimore came out and she said, look, I'm bringing all of them up on charges. I'm not calling nobody together. I'm not asking for no special jury to come in. I looked at the evidence. They had no right to arrest them in the first place, so everything they did after that was wrong. And if you got a problem with it, I'll see you in court. Now, that's basically what she said. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but that's basically what she said. Now, look at what's the difference between Ferguson, New York City, and Baltimore. It wasn't a young sister calling the shots. But the best part about it is, it ain't about white cops and black folks. If I recall, there was 3 white cops and 3 black cops. And the young sister said, I don't care what color you is, wrong is wrong, y'all killed them, and you're gonna pay for it. We got to get more young folks that's willing to stand up and do what's just and what's right and not worry about the politics behind the decisions that they're making. Today in the United States, 5% of the world's population, but nearly 25% of all the world's prisoners. Something wrong with that picture. In fact, 1 in every 35 Americans is incarcerated in one form or another, either in prison or in jail or on parole or on probation. Let that sobering statistic soak in. 1 in every 35 citizens is caught up in the American criminal justice system. And when you break it out by race, the picture looks a whole lot worse. While 1 in every 106 white males 18 and older is incarcerated, 1 in 15, I said 1 in 15, I mean 1 in 15 black males over 18 are locked up somewhere on any given day. That's somebody's son, that's somebody's father, that's somebody's uncle, that's somebody's boyfriend, that is somebody's husband. The sad truth is there's always a cage waiting for the next black body. I'm sure some of you have been touched in some way by the lock 'em up mentality created by the failed war on drugs. The only winner is the prison industry complex that rakes in at least $15 billion a year. $15 billion a year in profits off of us for selling a little weed. Something wrong with that picture. Finally, more and more public officials, liberals and conservatives, Democrats and Republicans, black and white and brown people are demanding real prison reform. They realize we are wasting trillions of dollars on an ineffective and unjust system. CBTU must and will be much more visible and active in helping America break its addiction to incarceration. We're looking to change the status quo, and we reject the false distinction between prisons and immigrant detention centers. Both profit from caging people of color. It don't make a difference if you black, brown, or yellow. If you locked up unjustly, you ought to be freed. We must keep our people and our tax dollars out of jails, prisons, and detention centers. We must say loud and clear, educate, don't incarcerate. Educate, don't incarcerate. Educate, don't incarcerate. Educate, don't incarcerate. Mass incarceration is a labor issue, which is why even the AFL now has made it a priority on its policy agenda. We can't organize and grow our movement if millions of young men and women of color are handcuffed, jailed, and devalued. We can't expect young grassroots activists to respect our organizing or political prowess if we don't join their fight against the way policing is done in communities of color. The creative and committed young folks who elevated Black Lives Matter from a popular hashtag to an international call to action put the bullseye squarely on biased policing that puts black folks at risk whenever a cop shows up. You know, it's sad as old as I am, and how old I said I was, about 40-something. Even at my age, I'm driving on the thruway quite often. Even at my age, as I'm driving through cities on a regular basis, even at my age, I cringe when I see a police car rolling up behind me. When I see a police car on the side of the road, I ain't did nothing wrong. But even at my age, as a black man who knows I ain't did nothing wrong, I still cringe to wonder if the lights are going to come on behind me for no reason. If I'm going to be pulled over unjustly, and if I'm pulled over, what's going to happen at that very moment, even at my age? Let me say this empathetically. We must put more attention on the many unarmed black women who have died while in police custody. See, for every Michael Brown, there's a Natasha McKenna, an inmate who was tasered to death in the jail in Virginia. For every Freddie Gray, there's a Rikita Boyd, an unarmed black woman killed by a Chicago cop who was later acquitted. These and many other cases of black women being victimized by deadly police force are routinely ignored by the mainstream media, and I dare say by us as a people. But the pain and the injustice and the outrage are no less real, no less unacceptable. We must say loud and clear, all black lives matter. All black lives matter. All black lives matter. Men, women, boys, and girls, grandmama, granddaddy, all black lives matter. We got to create an environment. We've got to create a state where it doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. We all matter as citizens of this country, and we've got to take our rightful place, and CBTU is going to start this ball rolling down the right road. That's why CBTU backs the Say Her Name campaign. We call upon our chapters to participate in local actions that raise awareness about the names and stories and struggle for injustice on behalf of black women and girls who have been victimized by police violence. That said, there's an earthquake of outrage and activism rumbling across America and other continents. It is centered mostly in communities of color, from Ferguson to Baltimore to the shanty towns on the outskirts of Paris. The flames of resistance are burning and getting stronger. People are just sick and tired, as Fannie Lou said, of being sick and tired. Just sick and tired of being taken advantage of, sick and tired of being abused and misused, sick and tired of being cast away. People are speaking up, rising up, marching for fundamental change. Mothers are dragging their children, their sons, away from mischief to save their lives. And I wish, as somebody said, we ought to just send the mothers in, because some of these mothers, y'all know, y'all in the audience, can clear up some problems around this country and around this world. Just send the mama in and grab that boy and slap him upside his head. Every time I turn around, I see folks talking about child brutality, and you ain't supposed to slap your children, you ain't supposed to whip your children. Well, everybody was jumping for joy when she was out here whooping his behind. Black folks, white folks, brown folks, yellow folks, Republicans, Democrats, get them! Say, send the mothers in. Send the mothers in. Mothers, y'all got more power than you think you really have. Sons, I mean, as old as, how old I say, I'm 40-something, even at my age, we still gonna listen to what mama say. Because mama always gonna be mama. And mama can always whoop you, one way or the other. These uprisings have also brought unnecessary harm. Burning down businesses in our own community won't stop police brutality. Just mean we ain't gonna have that business in our community. Assaulting cops, smashing windows won't stop aggressive stop and frisk tactics. We have to be more responsible for us and not just complain about what's being done to us. We got to take responsibility. Still deep down in the angry soul of a generation that has seen more and more money spent on inmates in prison than on students in classrooms, there's a fading confidence that this system will never work for them. You see, black people are like the canaries in the coal mines, wanting America to pay attention to danger ahead. For example, our wage and wealth gap is growing by the day. Money is tight for most working families, and their credit cards are stretched further than a rubber band on an elephant. Our tax burden is being shifted away from those who already pay too little to those of us who already pay too much. I say when you look at this, to see the difference, though, in our community and their community is when we lose money, we figure out how to make ends meet. When they lose money, they figure out how to rob somebody and steal. And that somebody is usually us. And when I'm talking about they losing money, they just lost a couple $1,000 because they made a bad bet. So they come back to us and who are doing all the work, and they take it from us through our taxes. They take it from us through our wages. They take it from us through our benefits. They just take it from us. But then we just got to figure out how to make some more pot liquor to make sure we got enough food to make it through the next day. Some of y'all know what pot liquor is. Some of y'all grew up on pot liquor. And y'all done ran out of food. The meat's gone. The pot liquor left. You better throw some noodles in there and make it stretch. Cornbread. You want cornbread? Put some cornbread. It's pot liquor. Pot liquor and cornbread. All right. We put noodles in it. We ain't had nothing to make cornbread with. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of Peter robbing Paul to buy a new Mercedes or a new member of Congress. And speaking of Congress, I want to give a well-deserved shout out to the members who voted to protect American workers from unfair trade deals negotiated in secret. Give them a hand. There's a few of them that stood up for us. There's a few of them that did the right thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my president. I admire his patience. I respect his desire to have fast-track authority to get his signature trade deal. But. Y'all know we all got them cousins who go a little crazy from time to time. Well, my cousin Barry has blown his cool on this one. He kind of lost his mind on this one. I'm with him like 99% of the time, but this one, I don't know who he's talking to. I don't know who he's getting his counsel from, but he done just really messed up. How in the hell can he go along with something that the entire labor, I mean, there ain't one union, every now and then you can get one union to break away. There ain't one union that's telling anybody that this is a good deal. There ain't one person that's lost their job that's saying this is a good thing. There ain't one person that thinks fast track is a good thing, because there ain't not one of us want to lose one or more of our jobs overseas to this fast track. How can he think it's the right thing? We can't keep shipping American jobs to foreign companies without protecting the very workers who built those companies. That's why we're all in to block TPP. To win, we need all of you to join in. Can I count on you? Can I count on you? Can I count on you to call your congressman? Can I count on you to give your senator hell? Can I count on you to let them know that we're going to stand against fast track? We must also step up our involvement in the grassroots movement to turn low-wage earners into high-quality jobs for all workers. Consider these sobering statistics, and we heard some of it earlier today. More than half of all black workers earn low wages. Nearly 55% of all full-time black workers earn low wages. In the retail sector, almost 75% of black workers earn low wages. In many ways, African Americans have become the face of the new low-wage workforce. And we know a low-wage job can be a one-way ticket into poverty. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, the owners of big buildings and fast food chains, the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and the evil mega retailer WM, I can't say it. They raking in billions in profits from exploiting their low-wage employees. But the winds of change are blowing. Low-wage earners under the banner of Fight for 15 and other labor groups have staged successful strikes and coordinated other solidarity actions. They have helped people connect the dots between inequality and the growing low-wage economy. CBTU will continue to support these brave workers. We must continue to keep the pressure on to rise the minimum wage and abolish poverty wages. CBTU is also fighting alongside of our teachers and other school employees to protect and improve quality public education. We remain opposed to vouchers and taking money from public schools to expand charter schools. Too often, the women and men who teach our children are made the scapegoat for problems that start outside the classroom or problems created by administrators driven by pay bonuses based on student test scores. When scores don't rise high enough or fast enough, teachers get attacked. Their job security is threatened. Contract concessions are demanded. Then their pension for teaching gets strangled by excessive paperwork. We cannot save our schools without respecting and rewarding our teachers and other school employees for their commitment, compassion, and courage. As I say, everywhere I go, I find it just blows my mind that I don't care if you're a garbage collector, I don't care if you're a teacher, I don't care if you're a doctor, I don't care if you're a lawyer, I don't care if you're a street sweeper, whatever you are, wherever you got in this life, a teacher helped you get there. And how in the hell can we turn our backs on the teaching profession because the far right is standing up against them? We've got to stand strong and stand up for our children and let them know that they have a right to a quality public education by teachers who care about the students. Finally, we must correctly grasp this moment, this earthquake of resistance spreading across America and across the world. For too long, we dropped our guard and didn't stand our ground. That's how we lost pensions. That's how we lost affirmative action and even Congress. Well, I'm tired of backpedaling and being polite to folks who despise my color or my politics. At this CBTU convention, we declare no more stepping back before stepping forward. Not one step back before stepping forward. No more looking the other way when our elected friends betray us. Over and over and over again. I think we got to start holding these politicians accountable. If they turn their back on us, we better damn well turn our back on them when it's election time. We better quit going out there banging on doors for them. We better quit telling our family to vote for them when they ain't doing nothing but trying to screw us. Oh, I'm sorry. Our theme this year is about self-determination. It's time to lead and stop the cheerleading. That's what the folks in Baltimore meant when they brushed off national leaders and said, we got this. That's what leaders in the Black Lives Matter movement mean when they say we can affirm ourselves. Well, we too can affirm ourselves. We have to take responsibility for our own freedom. And you know, freedom ain't free. Somebody got to pay the price. Somebody got to be willing to stand up. Somebody got to be willing to take the hit. Somebody got to be willing to do what is just and what is right. And I'll be saying, CBTU will be the somebody that's not going to back up, that's not going to turn around. If we want our own future, we must start now owning our communities. Too many, I don't know about you, but in my community, all the mom and pop stores used to be owned by people that look like me. Not no more. I can't even understand the people in the store. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just saying we sold out, our own sold out. Our own sold out to the biggest bidder that came in. And when we had those mom and pop stores, we could go to them stores and get credit. Because I used to work at one of them stores. There was a little book underneath the counter. Miss Minnie would send her son. He got a dozen of eggs, a loaf of bread, a can of soup. You put it in the book, you put it in a bag, and you give it to him. And when Miss Minnie got her check, she came down and found out how much she owed, and she paid it. We sold all our stores. We ain't got Miss Minnie. Miss Minnie ain't got nobody to go to get no more credit. And what they charging for a can of soup now, she can buy a case of soup at the store. But she ain't got nowhere else to go because we done sold out. We got to take back our community. We got to make it possible for those in our community to live in our community. We got to take responsibility. We got to be the social technologists who can help transform our neglected neighborhoods into viable, livable, affordable communities for all ages. We got to be the union mentor for those who keep good kids from going bad. That's what all black lives truly matter. So as I close, I need to ask you something. Will you join me in owning our future? Will you join me in owning our community? Will you join me in making our community better? when you join me in changing our movement to be a more progressive movement that ain't gonna take no, excuse me, Reverend, shit from nobody, will you join me in making a change in this labor movement that we have in this country? Will you join me in standing up at your local level? Will you join me in making a change at your national level? Will you join me in letting labor know that CBTU is gonna be the lead organization that's gonna change the way we do business? Make sure that this country lives up to its creed. It said we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. We are all men. We are part of this country. Stand with me and don't educate, don't incarcerate, educate. Will you join me? Will we make a difference? Will CBTU be the change agent? Remember, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And I'm looking out to the east and I see the sun coming up. It's almost morning time, CBTU. It's almost morning time. It's time for us to shine. God bless you.